Hello guys, welcome back to What If for the 10th installment where we look at TV series that, that like a series of any famous TV shows that have never made, and like what if they continue with a follow-up series that never actually came to be. And in this installment we're looking at a series based on a sitcom, a forgotten sitcom from the 1990s actually, that's never been, people seem to forget about actually, and it's called Game On. I'll talk about Game On once. Got the complete DVD box set of all three series, and I think it's worth talking about this show again actually. So here we go. So just a little bit of backstory. Game On was a 90s show that ran between 1995 and 1998. It ran for three series and was produced by Hat-Trick Productions and was broadcast on BBC Two. Focused on three flatmates. So in retrospect, different type of flatmates actually. Anyway, like these obscure flatmates and just the random adventures really. Through around the time. Like sort of references like maybe to like in. It's like a version of Remember Him Badly, really. Like a different. It's like a laddish. It's a laddish sitcom of that time, of that period, really. Around that time, the whole thing, involving Laddism, Britpop, that type of thing as part of that time, really. But man, it's funny. So, again, this came out 95 98, from 1995 to 1998, Hat-Trick production, written by Andrew Davis and Bernadette Davis, I think. Different Davises, they had different spellings and surnames. I think Bernadette Davis wrote the third one herself, really. So, yeah, interesting. So, again, for three flatmates, you've got an interesting cast as well involved with this one. So, you got Martin, who's played by Matthew Cottle, who's basically like this sort of like wet fart of a ginger fella, ginger tosser, he's usually referred as. You got Matthew, who has a fear of going outside. He's played by two different actors, of course. First series was played by Ben Chaplin. He went off to Hollywood, he did, and Neil Stu took over series 2 and 3, he did. And then you got Mandy, who's played by Samantha Yanis. Samantha Womack, if you're familiar, people from EastEnders. She's in this as well. Probably one of her best roles, actually, I think. And this focuses just on the adventures of them, really, and they go into all sorts of stuff, really. And if you watch the series in general, it's like some stuff happens. You've got let me think. Someone involved with a journalist with Mandeep sleeps with a journalist. Matthew ends up joining a band, and he ends up probably getting outside the flats, of course, and he goes into his like hysterics because he's frightened of like going out, and actually people view it as like a work of art, like is it very dramatic and theatrical and sort of like art rock and full of drama and everything else. And obviously he's like, oh fuck off and that sort of thing. It's like, it's that type of stuff. Second series you get introduced to Claire, who's an Irish nurse. That sort of runs through the whole thing with series 2. I think series 3 as well, of course, when they introduce the daughter, Rosie, as well. I think with series 3 as well, because they introduce Mandy meeting a guy called Archie, and the very final episode getting married, of course. So why is there a series 4? Why is as it's like always gonna be like sort of like the end, really, like with Mandy getting married, of course, you think surely that's the finale, but actually not. Why are we having a series 4? But actually there was plans to do a fourth series, of course. Bernadette Davis, who wrote the third series, was planning to do another fourth one. Actually, there was talks of doing a fourth one, really, and it never came through. It's interesting as well because they mentioned that there's going to be a new series in 2000. So obviously this is going to be from 2000. This series, the fourth series. So after a repeat in 1999, I think one of the episodes, I'm not sure what episode was repeated in 1999, but they said and stay tuned for the next series, the new series coming out in 2000. So the BBC probably announced that, but it never happened, of course. So people think like, oh, we'll chip in until BBC 2 next year for a new series, actually. So that's brilliant. Never happened, of course. But there were some ideas going around, actually, introducing the fourth flatmate, including a fourth, like maybe form a quartet or something like that. Or replacing one of the cast members. I'm not too sure. I think maybe having added a quartet included might be interesting. I think they were interested. Bernadette Davis was more interested in introducing, like, I think a lesbian character, someone who's probably, like, that sort of thing, up the ante a little bit, actually. Maybe add a second female flatmate, to fit like, have two male flatmates, two female flatmates together. something like that maybe. But also to flesh out Matthew as well, who felt it was been a bit underused. And actually, if you look at it, that's quite true actually in a way, because Martin and Mandy do take this most of the spotlight really. Martin, especially with he's looking for love, relationship with Claire, the fallout from his relationship, having a daughter, that sort of thing. Mandy, sexual exploits, and also again her marriage as well in the third series. All the sort of build up to the marriage really. That's sort of the same thing, it's that sort of thing. And Matthew, you have a few stories of him involved, him discovering his sexuality, of course, with Jason, him trying to break out from his phobia, from going outside, forming a band, and also wearing rugby gear, of course, to protect himself. Him, try that little bit of him trying to save, Fender, a robber from, was it like a newsagent or something like that, on off license, whacking the robber with a surfboard and fainting afterwards. Yeah, that's something. That's funny, and I think that, and also him like I think a solo episode to himself really, like about just him in the flyers on his own, his crazy antics, trying to be Clint Eastwood or something like that. Play music and just try and recite stuff from movies, something like doing recreating scenes. I think also that little bit when he's become a private, like a soldier as well, he camouflages and makes it the whole flat jungle or something like that, like a training ground or something like that. That's something. Well, yes, obviously Alberta Davis obviously sort of want to utilise him a bit more, like really flesh him out and everything else. Like that's true, because I think obviously Mandy and Martin really took the spotlight on that one, really, and that would have been interesting. Also, I think it would have been like an interesting thing of involving the new female or some lesbian flatmate or anything else. That sort of thing. It would have, Mandy and Martin might have taken a back seat at that point. Matthew and that new flatmate might have taken the spotlight in this series. We don't even know. It would have been interesting, something like that. It would have been. That would have been something again to flesh out more characters. Like all right, we spend quite a few time, of course, with these characters. Why do we spend time with these two ones? Of course, we got a new one that's been made. Make it more interesting. We got this one that's been underused. Probably use that one as well. So that would have been something. Story-wise, I don't even know where to go with that one, really. With this one, with the characters, of course, obviously finding love and everything else, to have the random things, involving other stuff, like of the time. Obviously, 2000. What's going to happen in 2000? We don't even know, of course. Obviously, the music landscape might have changed. We might have the indie stuff returning, because obviously, throughout the series, of course, you get stuff like the Blur, Manic Street Preachers, and obviously they'll probably still use the song, was it Where I Find My Heaven from Judel Ants, they'll probably still use that, of course. It would have been interesting actually, but obviously, would it stick would it continue after a fourth series? Probably not, I don't think so. Maybe actually. With the new flatmate, they could probably introduce it a bit more better. I don't know, maybe expand it on a bit more. Maybe go up to 6 series or something like that, but we don't know, really. But, it's like Men Behaving Bentley, they could probably do the same length of doing like 6 series and 3 specials and finish off there. Maybe 6 series, 1 Christmas special, and a trilogy of specials afterwards. Maybe something like that, maybe like a same formula. Would have been copy and paste though, something like that, but who knows. But, talk about this 4th series that's never been. I'm not really so briefly going on about, there's no major plan. I haven't really thought out a plan for this one as well, so I don't know. Again, walk in the dark in this one. Just really don't know. I just don't know actually. But it would have been interesting actually, what was mentioned with Bernard Davis, of course, that would have been interesting actually. But story-wise, I'm not too sure. It would have been 6 episodes, produced by Hat Trick, of course. And the usual people will probably return. Of course, he did the first 3 series. And apart from Andrew Davis, really, so Bernard Davis will write solely for the 2nd time. We just don't know, really. We don't even know what the characters at that point are. We don't know what's going to happen afterwards, really. Obviously, with Mandy, we're not too sure because she must get married. I feel she'd just probably return to the same old self. I don't even know. We have no idea. Would Martin continue with the fatherhood figure of Rosie and Claire? Would she even return? I don't know. We don't even, not too sure. Because obviously I think she moved to Australia with Shane at that point, if you remember the show. Just don't know. We just really don't, we don't know. We don't know what that fourth series would have been like. You know, again, stumbling in the dark, we don't even know ourselves. So, there we go, guys. I have nothing else to say, really, so there we go. Game On Series 4 from 2000. There we go, guys. What your thoughts are. If you like Game On, if you've ever seen the show, if you're familiar with it, comment down below. And share your thoughts and opinions, what you might want to see from this full series, if it was planned, really. You know, I like to hear your thoughts. Comment down below, really. Or suggest some other stuff that'd probably be interesting, because I know Jordan Howell's mentioned a few ideas down below. One involving being a Super Ted, 4 series Super Ted. That's interesting, actually. But I never really thought about that, actually. But there we go. So, there we go, guys. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.